Hey, what's up, everyone? I started just thinking about this particular topic, and it just fascinated my brain. There's a lot of topics that have been fascinating me lately, but I went to look it up and found out that other people had asked the same question. And that question is, have you ever noticed how a CPU, how circuit boards, the motherboard of a computer, how all of these computer chips in general look like a city? They look like an intricate city. And I started downloading some images of you look at the structure, possible structure of space time, and you look at, from example, like you look at the way things are structured, and they're structured in a way that is so similar to a computer. This is from a plane, a view
Sorry,
of a
I don't
city.
have an answer for that.
Sorry, this is the trigger word for that device is computer. That's the trigger word I had. That's why it went off. Um, but look at all this. This is from above, a city from above, and it looks like a computer board, a circuit board. Now I'm going to read a little bit about this, and I found other people have the same idea. They said you'll notice that there are roads, buildings, cars, and people all connected in a complete system. Just like our city, circuit boards provide a complex, complete system, a foundation for all the electronic components that make our everyday devices come to life. In fact, you can compare many aspects of a city to a PCB. Traces are the roads. On a PCB, you'll notice a bunch of lines running all over the place, connecting to various components. I mean, think about it. It's like the network cables, the network lines from pole to pole to for phone lines and internet lines, the which are now mostly all fiber optic cables, but the one and the same, and the electric cables. I mean, just across from our house, there are 6 electric lines right across the road, just going and network lines, and then they go over the house, and it's just interconnected. But you'll notice that a bunch of lines running all over the place, connecting to various components. They're just like the roads in the cities, except instead of cars zipping around, electrons are flying down the streets that are made out of copper, hurrying off to power one component after another. These copper roads are called traces in our PCB city. These, these are an example. This is an example of those copper roads, which look like little areas heading off to buildings, little copper roads heading off to buildings, but they're actually conducting the electricity to power the other components. That's a PCB without any of its components. You can see all the traces connecting everything. That's without the components connecting anything. Then you've got the integrated circuits are the downtown. Downtown is where all the work in the city happens, and you've got your big corporate offices, local businesses on every corner, and maybe even some of the open markets. This central hub of human activity is just like those square black shapes that you'll find on a PCB called integrated circuits. These integrated circuits are where all of the heavy processing happens in a PCB, doing rapid fire calculations right here. And that even looks like a little parking lot going into a Walmart or business right there. It looks like a little, I don't know, it just reminds you of a marketplace. And all of these are all of these are the little circuits, the central hub of activity where all those integrated circuits is where all that heavy processing is taking place inside your computer board. And then you have the passive components. They're like the suburbs. In the suburbs, where the homes of parks and schools and things like that are a common sight, from a plane you'll notice that the rows and rows of houses in a suburb often look just like the small resistors or capacitors that are found all over a computer board, the PCB. These resistors are out there resisting the flow of current according to their value. They're resisting the main city, they're the suburbs, they're resisting the flow. And then you've got pads, which are the construction. No city is free from construction. Where there's new buildings, skyscrapers, or apartment complexes, you'll find foundations being laid everywhere. These foundations are just like the empty pads that you'll find on a PCB with no components on it. While they might be empty now, a component will soon be soldered or soldered to them. It says soldered, but I thought it was soldered. You'll see right there, those are waiting for more components to be put to them, like laid ground that looks like construction. And then there's the silk screen, which is like the addresses and street names. You won't find your way around a city without some address or the street or address name. It's just like how these two help you navigate. They help you to navigate of all the mazes of all the streets, and all of the white wiring that you'll find on a PCB does just the same. It helps you to navigate. The lettering called silk screen helps people that are assembling or fixing PCBs to know exactly what part it is and its location. So they're like addresses right there. And the vias are like the sewer systems. All of the water that we use in all of the stores and business places, that everything, whatever you're doing, whether you're at a car wash or whatever, that water has to go somewhere and into the sewers. It finds itself traveling to new destinations. The sewer system is just like the holes that you might find on a PCB. The computer board, it's called vias. These manhole-like shapes help to deliver electricity from one side of a PCB to another, just like how water travels from a sink or, a public toilet to the local sewage plant. It's an expressway. These capacitors are like the power plant, the nuclear power plants or whatever. Power plants keep lights running. They keep your lights running. They keep everything going. Could you imagine a city would it be without a power plant, or even those transformers and not the actual power plant, but these different power stations, switching stations. Just like power plants in a city, they said we have what are called capacitors on a computer board that store electricity. Just like a power plant. They can hold a charge and they release it when needed to send power where it needs to go. That would be like the nuclear power plants. These are the power boards. I mean, not the power boards, but these are the power capacitors. And LEDs, all in your device, are like street lights and signs. You can see them right there. A lot of devices have these LEDs along them. Street lights and signs help keep order in a world full of crazy drivers controlling the flow of traffic in our maze of streets and highways. Well, on a PCB or a computer board, these street lights and signs are just like diodes, and their cousin, the LED. The diode controls the flow of electricity on a PCB. So these lights help to control the flow of the electricity, the energy going through the computer board, just like traffic is controlled by the street lights, allowing it to only go in one direction. And you're bound to have seen an LED screen just like a diode, LED inside a device like a diode, except that it lights up when current runs through it. So that's what you have. All of the individual parts put together, and you can see some of the similarities on the landmarks here. Integrated circuits are the easiest to find. You can look for the black boxes and all of these. Of course, all of these pieces work together. It's only a fraction of the things that you'll find on a PCB, but this is an entire one right here. And it looks just like a small city. I want to show you some images that I downloaded. If you look at a computer board, right here for example, you'll see the many similarities to a city and a functioning city. And you can see all of this intricate design, and it's allowing this flow of information and electricity to take place. And it's just really amazing when you think about it. It looks like the layout or design, almost like a person who does blueprint work would do for designing a new town or city. And just like biometrics, look at our fingerprints, for example. and our fingerprint looks like a layout or design of of an intricate design of flow, just like our cells going from one thing to another, just from one place to another, carrying out tasks. And then you see the biometrics taking place. This fingerprint, it's a flow of, it's a perfect consistent flow. And then even we can be represented in code. We can be represented in zeros and ones and data. But when you look at the human fingerprint, you can see an intricate design and one thing working with another. And it's amazing, really, to be honest. And that's just what, just look at this, for example. That's what I was thinking of. It looks like a computer chip. From above, you can see that our cities and subdivisions look like, our entire cities and streets look like a computer chip. Like skyscrapers from above, and the highways and roads, and you see the vehicles moving, and the electric cables and network lines look like information just moving along, like data transferring. This city from above. Doesn't that look very, very familiar to what I just showed you? And then you look at the universe, and we see a very similar scenario. It looks like it's just such intricate design of a web of interconnection. If you've also looked at the map of the internet, it looks like what I am about to show. So, like right here, the largest structure in the universe so far, astronomers discovered a wall of galaxies 1 billion light years across, larger than anything else yet identified in the cosmos. Almost reminds you of DNA or a genetic structure, which I'll get into in another video, my ideas on that. But I know double helix, ATGC, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, they make up the genetic structure of everything, and the way the genomes are sequenced represent how the person is, their personality, their likes and dislikes and preferences, their genetics, their entire makeup, their strengths and weaknesses, everything about them is all encoded in the ATGC. The particular set, the sequence of their genomes and how they're sequenced. But the deoxyribonucleic acid makes every human being, and that's just the way it is. But it's amazing to me. None of this stuff can be by accident. I don't care what anyone tries to say. But it looks similar to a genetic structure. But I know it's not a double helix like Watson and Crick double helix, but it's still very fascinating. This looks like a brain cell, and this is supposed to be an intricate look of the possible structure of the universe. And this right here is a structure of the, I think it is the electrical flow, if I'm not mistaken. But no, this is similar to the internet. I'm sorry, but this is actually how they believe part of the universe is structured. And it's like a string or a web connecting one to another. That's what they believe. And space-time is connected. And this reminds me a lot of, if you look at this, that's their new idea on possibly how space-time looks. Well, you think about it, it reminds you of, what's this look like? Remember those things that you saw as a child, those little optical fiber lights that you play with? Those optical fiber cables or fiber optics cables is what allows our internet access today. It allows light to travel through to get data transferred from one place to another. And those fiber optics cables are what runs the entire internet network of networks today. So when you're watching me right now, it's because of those fiber optics cables, which looks like this, which reminds you of brain function, which reminds you of the universe structure, which reminds you of, who knows, the multiverse. It just reminds you of God's creation's amazing. And I don't care what anyone says, it's so intricate, it's just amazing. There's no way anything is by accident. But you look at this and you can see that this structure looks like fiber optics cables. And the universe is almost like it has the same laws and principles, mathematical laws and principles, as a circuit board, a computer board, from the universe down to planet Earth, down to Earth itself, to what we're living in. It's like a gigantic simulation of that God has put us in. That's what it's like. It's like a gigantic simulation. But anyway, you know how people talk about glitches in the Matrix, and I witnessed many of these glitches of reality, that's for sure. But anyway, yeah, this is supposed to be like a structure of, I think it's called the Hercules Coriolis Borealis Great Wall. That is the largest cluster of galaxies that has been observed by scientists. So this is not a structure of the universe. This is a cluster of galaxies. So I was mistaken on that. But look at the way it looks like interconnected fiber optics cables. This is the way they believe that it interconnects. I mean, that's fascinating. And then you've got Einstein's general theory of relativity. You've also got the space-time continuum and what they believe is the structure of space-time itself, and how wormholes can be created to connect one point to another. Look at the fiber optics cables on the TV popped up on Chromecast. Wow, that's crazy. Look what popped up on Chromecast. Well, you just missed it. I'll show it in a moment. But yeah, space-time, that's what they believe, the space-time curvature, where you can have one point to another. They believe this is the structure of the universe, the grid structure, but also like similar to a computer, and very similar to the grid structure, the layout, the design of the universe is very similar to technology, and it's just mind-blowing that people just can't even comprehend this. But if you look at Einstein's theory on things, and quantum mechanics, quantum physics. I need to get back into studying more of that, but it's space-time itself there's like a curvature and the structure. You're not really moving through time itself, so to speak, but in order to travel through the cosmos, you would have to warp space-time itself. In essence, you would be becoming part of it, and you would be we are part of the cosmos, but you would be moving the time itself rather than actually traveling through. You'd be manipulating it. And they believe that there are wormholes, points to point. I know there are portals, wormholes. We know there's portals. I mean, you can find that information biblically, and you can find, from heaven to earth. You can find extra-dimensional, interdimensional, and beings, and there are also things that are here within our realm, but they're not. They're here, but they are not. And also some of the movements and maneuvers that these things people witness, including creatures and crafts. Now, they have been witnessed. They have been witnessed by many individuals, but these things that maneuver in ways that are not understandable by the laws of physics, they would have to not be necessarily physical in order to carry out these motions, these movements. I mean, some of the things that they do, they would have to be interdimensional, extra-dimensional. Some would say a spirit realm, but it would have to be beyond what we know as the laws of physics, which we still haven't figured out a lot. But yeah, the structure of the universe and the bending and warping of space-time and space-time continuum, and seeing how things move and interconnect. Everything is interconnected like a cosmic web and the grid of everything. But you look at the structure of the universe and space-time, and you look at a city, and then you see a circuit board. It all just kind of comes together in your mind. And it's just like, I mean, you can just see it, You just see the connection once you open your eyes to it. This is what I was talking about popping up on the TV. This is an image of some optical fibers that's how our internet works, which is modern day internet works on fiber optics cables. And this is an example of those cables that we used to have as a child, with those things that it would light up and have those little fiber cables. That's how data transfers now, through light, through those type of cables. You might think this is a city, but no, it's the inside of a computer. This is what I wanted to show earlier. It's a map of the internet globally. This is what it looks like. A map of the internet, our connections, using those fiber optic cables. This is what it would look like in colored dots. And most, believe it or not, a lot of our network connections rely on fiber optics network cables that are underground, but mostly going under the ocean, along the ocean. And here's a map of those network cables. It's about the size of a soda can, and yeah, they have to have them inside this tubing, and that's how the network of networks works. That's how the internet works. This is the map of those underwater network cables. You would call it the backbone of the internet, and this is it right here, which not all of it's underground, underwater, but a lot of it is. And this is called the internet backbone cable. Right there. That's the backbone to the internet. That type of cable right there that transmits data using light. And these are the type of cables. Most of it is powered by the global internet is powered by undersea cables, submarine communication cables. These are the layers of them. That's an example of one right there. And it's a very delicate and intricate system that a lot of people do not think about. It has to be maintained and checked regularly. This is inside one of the buildings that they come from. It's the backbone cabling. That allows everything from including you watching this video right now. It's all powered. It's all transmitted by and through this technology. It's done by these undersea cables. Just like that. Alright, so it's amazing. And it's also amazing that pretty much that these cities, our cities that we have, look a lot like technology. They look a lot like computer boards. Anyway, I don't know why they say that people, that God, science, believers in Christ, and science can't cohabitate, because it's not true. Because, I mean, it's the more you look at all this stuff, the more you see that it is not accidental. There's no way it's accidental. All right, signing out. Just a fun video that I wanted to make. Hope you all enjoyed it, and just something different, a different type of video. And I will make more videos, Lord willing, as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Please support. Links are below for that. I would appreciate it. I mean, I know I do all my content for free, but I mean, I've done so far. I'd like support. I would appreciate it. And I love you all so much, and may God bless you. Thank you very much. Just thought I'd make a quick, really cool, just video, just interesting video. Signing out.